The whens, the whys, the wheres, and even the what ifs. Sports Spring is that show that will give you that new lease of life you've been looking for in sport journalism. Join me, Joseph Atewe,
and your sports Amazon, Nengi Ernest.
on this station, Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on Star Times.
Let's talk sports. Let's speak the most universal language of the world.
Kiriji War, also known as Ekiti Parappa War, was waged among Yoruba main ethnic groups which emerged from the ruins of the falling Oyo Empire that were desperate to replace the awesome powers hitherto wielded by the Alaafin of Oyo. The Kiriji War is defined as a conflict of confederacy and unitary political system championed by Yorubas of different socio-economic and political interests. The Ibadan military aristocrats felt they deserved a dominant position for saving Yoruba land from being totally submerged by the Fulanis by their victory in Oshobo War of 1840 and Ijaye War of 1862. Kiriji War, that took its name from the booming motor sounds of European arms, festered for so long because the Industrial Revolution in Europe provoked high standards of slaves. The 16-year Civil War also caused the emergence of new powerful kingdoms like Ibadan and the rise of powerful personalities like Oluyole, Ogunmola, Kunmi, Latosha, Shodeke, Fabumi, and Ogedengbe. One of the fallouts of Kiriji War was the birth of creative political and leadership structure in Yoruba land that was a blend of federalism and the autocratic monarchical system. Western Spring Television identifies Kiriji War as a watershed event.
Here in South Africa, there is still a healthy population of lambs, contributing to tourism and creating thousands of jobs. Sadly, in Nigeria, we have less than 50 lions left in the wild. Imagine if we could help their numbers recover and we become a wildlife tourist destination. So let's protect our lands because poaching steals from us all.
Can you imagine the feeling when you get your news as the break with facts and clarity? Our news are reported as it is.
In Africa, and all those who masterminded the way it happened, we have to pay a price.
Enjoy Western programs, projecting culture and tradition to the world. Brought to you as the break and recapped every hour for your update.
Fellow Nigeria, out.
Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. You're welcome again to today's edition of Morning Spring. Morning Spring on Western Spring Television, WSTV, Channel 190, Star Times, DTT. This is what we do here at this time, having robust conversations on issues of public importance. That's what we do here. We'll start by looking at our major stories on our dailies, and then at the other side of that, we then get talking from A to Z issues about governance, about policy, about, everything that has to do with Nigerians and the state of the nation. Nigeria, good people, great nation. That's what we do here at this time. Femi Ojo is my name. Very happy to know that you are always there, and we are live right now on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Today promises to be very, very exciting. We are going to be talking about what is happening in the state of the Living Spring, Osun State. Matters are rising. You need to know, you need to be involved, and then your take, is very special to us as well. Once again, good morning. Good morning, Evelyn.
Good morning, Femi. How do you do today?
Very well. How do you do?
Good morning, Nine. I'm great. I mean, it's Thursday. What's there not to be grateful for? Yes, welcome, people. I am Evelyn Ohiola. It is the 47th Thursday of the year, and we are grateful to God. Perko moving closer to the end of the year 2023.
That's right.
A whole lot of events have happened in this year, and today is another day to witness many of such events. Talking about events, let's go to Kano State, Femi.
Interesting.
See what is happening in Kano State at this time. Certified true copy. The content of the certified true copy, or which I said not everything, a part of it is kind of different from what was verbally announced in the court, sacking the governor of Kano State right now, Abba Yusuf, and saying that Gawuna of the All Progressives Congress, APC, won that election. But looking at the certified true copy, you will see that the court set aside the ruling of the tribunal, and also...
should we call it alleged certified true copy now? Because
it's emanated.
Certified true copy one. Because
but this CTC...
by last night, there is another certified true copy.
This CTC emanated from the appeal court. And it's not just... this is not just a magistrate court. It is not a high court. It is the appeal court of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the second highest court of the country.
The land,
and I think it's something we should actually talk about. Although the court said it's a clerical error, but people are saying if it's a clerical error, then we can say, okay, if it's a word, maybe you mistook appellate for respondent, then that is acceptable.
The whole sentence.
But we have two sentences. You claim that it was clerical error. You set aside the judgment of the tribunal and upheld and said the appellate won the case. I mean, it's something that is confusing.
That's right, what you say, and that was a needless confusion. And those things that people are talking about now, that has elicited protest in some part of Kano yesterday. In fact, it was getting very heated. The security personnel are to be involved. Here, guys shot, and I think some military men are involved as well to, to curtail any sad eventuality. Means, and very instructive, what you have said is not just a word or two that you could say, okay, maybe it was interchange or something. It was more like a decision of the court. How clerical, how erroneous can that be? Quite expensive to say. And by the end of the day, that's what I was trying to say. Is it the CTC one for the CTC too now, because we learned appeal court has given another CTC, certified true copy of that verdict, you know, setting apart again now
It's first,
the first
CTC.
CTC, and if actually, by the way, this should be investigated. You know, many persons are calling the NJC to really investigate, and this is not doing the judiciary any good at this time, especially when things that are emanating from the judiciary, court orders, you know, conflicting ones, and this clerical error now that is quite expensive, if you ask me, too expensive, especially knowing what is involved, a gubernatorial election.
In Kano, it's not just any state.
In state like Kano, even if it's Bayelsa or Ekiti or anywhere, but, you know, that's quite expensive. Reading out, setting, you know, off or apart now,
the judgment of the tribunal,
and then stating that Abba Yusuf, popularly called Abba Gidagida, is the winner of that election. How clerical? What kind of error is that?
You know,
you mean nobody went through before it was released? How about the clerk of the court? How about the registrar of the court? Are you kidding me? These are the questions that people are asking, because this is like a dent, or let me say, further dent
on the judiciary.
When people are in a kind of way, some persons, you know what, maybe these persons are not the one they should do, or there are some unseen hands controlling things, and the judiciary or the people involved are trying to say, no, we are on our case, we know what we are doing. It's just these things that people are talking about, the judiciary is just things in their head, but then can happen.
Yes, and some people in defense of the judiciary are asking Nigerians not to cast aspersion on an institution so revered in the land, but you will not blame people.
Is that reference that should have made them, or everybody involved, not to come out with such a thing called clerical error, a whole verdict called
I want
clerical.
to ask if there's a precedence to this. Have we had an issue where there is, or there was a clerical error as of this magnitude, and the CTC was asked to be retrieved, and another one issued
as well?
I think we should look into that. Has there been any precedence? Because this really is a concern, a national concern for everyone. The judiciary should not be caught in such a web.
And I think it should be more of a concern to the judiciary themselves to know that, you know, these institutions being spoken about in such a manner are now being further, you know, dented in a kind of way.
I mean, this is not a summary of the judgment. This is a certified true copy. Issued by the appellate court.
Yeah, not just a report of a media outlet. It will have been said, oh, this was, you know, put on the media to say they were quoted out of context. You know what happened in the case of Kaduna when a particular or some news outlet went to the press to say,
we won the
Ubasani has been sacked, inconclusive have been declared, only for the case to finish, and we know that it's the other side. But now, all right, we will look into
I mean, the document is all over social media. People are actually looking into that. First, it was Lagos State, where the that's the executive now, looking at the other arm of government, where the executive said that it was a mistake that the 2 billion naira was put in that procurement budget. Now we have the judiciary saying it's a clerical error that you have the governor of the state being affirmed as the winner of that election, and the tribunal judgments being set aside. But we wait, we cross our hands, and we'll see as events
interesting days ahead, actually.
Exactly.
And we think, just like many persons are saying, that the NJC should really look into this matter. You know, it was said at the second CTC that a clerical error cannot override the verdict of Milords at the court. All right, we'll go to the headlines right now, but that will be after this break.
All right, it's time to check out what we have on the front page of the different national dailies this morning. And I'll start with the Nation newspaper. Appeal Court lays to rest Kano judgment CTC controversy. Clerical error cannot invalidate verdict. Party 6 probe. Police disperse protesters in Kano. And NNPP takes case to Supreme Court. Away from that, trial of 191 electoral offences suspects to begin. Ebonyi, Edo, and Anambra have highest number of suspects. And more headlines coming through on the Nation newspaper this morning. Fasoranti Falaye, others intervene in Akeredolu Ayedatiwa feud. There's still that in Ondo State. 2024, 26 trillion naira budget. Federal government targets 7.8 trillion naira loan. What will this loan be used for? These are pertinent questions we have to ask. Haruna Musa takes office as Joyce Bank MD CEO, and NPCL allays fears of petrol shortage ahead of Yuletide. Inspector, bottom strip now, inspector killed in policeman soldiers clash. Federal government, state council share 906 billion naira. That's on the Nation newspaper, I beg your pardon, the Nation newspaper this morning. And there's a particular headline I skipped. First Lady inaugurates market money scheme. Emefiele gets 300 million naira bill. We had trader money in the last administration, and now we have market money now in place by this administration. But Femi,
Yes.
you know, this headline about the clash between the policemen and the soldiers, I mean, I think this is time the security heads looked into this, because we can have a clash between two security agencies that are supposed to uphold law and order in the country. This is not a good one for our country. There was a reprisal attack by the soldiers yesterday, and a police officer was killed just because at the time a policeman came, and I think one soldier also lost his life at the first attack by the police officers, and a reprisal attack by the soldiers. A policeman was killed. Well, what is all this?
It's hard, by the way, especially knowing fully well, to just state categorically there, this is not the first time. It has always been happening. And sadly, by the way, I remember there was a time 10, 15 years ago in Lagos when it was between the police and men of the Air Force. I think at that time, an Air Force, I think some policemen took their van to a workshop of the Nigerian Air Force in Lagos for repair. And something happened. They harassed the engineers or mechanics that were there, and then they left. And then the guys, the men of the Air Force at the time, got to know what happened, and they felt in our barrack this happened, and they went out hunting for any policeman they could see on the road, and that degenerated. And that has happened over the years.
What happened to negotiations?
Men in uniform, and I think most of the time it's a battle of supremacy. Most of the time to say, you guys did it, we are going to punish you for doing that. And you wonder, guys who should be law enforcement officers flouting the law, doing anyhow, is even bad enough to see it happening between men in uniform and civilians. But now between guys in uniform working for the state, for the same state, the Nigerian state, and this is happening as well. And people have lost their lives on both sides now. That's the sad part, that whatever that has been done, whatever mediation that will happen, those lives that have been lost can never be retrieved. And that is a sad situation.
It's a sad story.
And in which it should never be seen. Just a few weeks ago, like a week ago, we learned the EFCC went on a raid and, raided some men of, things were the Air Force or the Navy, I can't remember now. One of these men in uniform, one of these agencies rather, took them to their office because they said they got information that some of them were involved in criminal activities, only for the military guys to go into the EFCC's office, try to retrieve their men because they feel it's insulting. Why will you come and raid of our men? These are some of the things we see, but let's call it what it is. It's a shame.
It's a big shame. And I think the fact that you are in uniform or you are a man in uniform doesn't authorize you to be above the law.
Yeah.
If you have broken the law, the same treatment that is meted to a civilian should also be your own case. I don't understand why we try to excuse the men in uniform and we see them as superior to the civilians. I think this is something the security agencies, heads of security agencies, should look into. Our service chiefs, they should look into this, because this is very, very shameful for our nation. And that's all for the Nation newspaper this morning.
Straight to the Nigerian Tribune. The Nigerian Tribune for this morning. Sack of Kano governor. Appeal court cites clerical error in CTC as youth protest in Kano. And NNPP heads for Supreme Court asked NJC to probe controversial CTC. A victory upheld, APC insists. And suspended Adamawa Rec in Niger Republic. Council tells court. Interesting. Senate seeks probe into $500 million CCTV contract in FCT. Poor nutrition can damage child's brain. Nutritionist. ECOWAS Parliament seeks review of sanctions on Niger Republic. And FAAC, that's FARC. Federal government, state, local governments share 906.9 billion for October. Federal government plans 75 billion loan to 1.5 million poor Nigerians as First Lady launches market money. Right, let the money flow, go to the right places and with the right effect. And police officer killed as army police clash in Adamawa. CP fumes. An alleged 1.21 billion procurement fund. Court grants Emefiele 300 million bail, and industrial court restrains Osun judges from taking up acting CJ position. Who will want to, by the way. Osun judicial workers declare indefinite strike. That's just soon. Quite some very interesting things, especially coming from Osun State in the past few days or week or thereabout, talking about the judiciary and the commissioner, the Chief Justice for that matter, the Chief Judge of Osun State. Industrial court restrains Osun judges from taking up acting CJ position. And Osun judicial workers declare indefinite strike. That will be all from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, let's head straight to Daily Independent newspaper this morning. C2C judgment dispute, and NPP asks NJC to probe appeal court ruling on Kano Guba poll. APC links misreading of judgment to typographical errors. Protest breaks out in Kano over appeal court's judgment. CTC appeal court admits clerical error to correct it as appropriate. Federal High Court CJ releases new posting for judges. Get to page 7 of Daily Independent for more details. Alleged 1.6 billion naira fraud. Emefiele secures 300 million naira bail. Trial begins November 28. FARC shares 906.955 billion naira among FG states, LGs for October. Get to page 7 to get more details. 2 grandmothers, 4,590 others graduate from Lagos Skill Acquisition Program. Commendable. Senator case 2024 to 2026, MTF, others probe into tax waivers. And bottom strip in red, Tinubu returns to Abuja after 5 days trip to Germany. Let's go to the topmost part of the front page of Daily Independent newspaper this morning. Minister seeks UN support to reform Nigeria's correctional service. Vows to sack high-handed officers. Tinubu's government poised to provide lifeline for MSMEs. This is coming from the First Lady of the country. And that's all for Daily Independent.
All right, we head straight to The Guardian newspaper for today, Thursday, November 23rd, 2023. And poor funding raises concerns for 270 new private universities. Poor funding raises concerns for 270 new private universities. More universities, less research output and quality. That's the The bold headline from The Guardian, front page for today. And of course, some interesting figures and statistics there. Now, it says total number of universities may rise to 528, among which 418 are private owned. Total number of universities may rise to 528, among which 418 are privately owned. Right? Between 2018 and 2022, over 5 million candidates who applied for admission were unable to secure placement. Right? And that's speaking to the fact that are the universities enough, or are those students who are looking for admission, do they have what it takes? Or what is really going on? 5 million candidates who applied for admission were unable to secure placement, or they were not given the course of their choice. Many things there. And out of 1.8 million candidates who applied in 2022, about 600,000, representing 33.3%, were admitted. Okay, 33% of 1.8 million candidates who applied in 2022, that it was 600,000 only got admission, even when there are many universities. So what is going on? Is it about the numbers of the universities? Guardian is saying in its part of these, we are having less research output. Or is it due to funding? Because one thing is this, you can't be talking about research without proper funding. Not just funding, consistent funding, either from the government or from private individuals or entities or companies or corporations. That's how it flies. There's so many universities in US and the UK in which their budget eclipses that of many states in the nation because of what they do consistently. The university is an ecosystem on its own. That's why it's a university. It's a universal area that is supposed to be run adequately and properly. So moving on, you have the picture there of the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, the GMD of the NNPCL, Mele Kyari, Kwame Bamidele as the Senate leader, and the Deputy Senate President, Mr. Barrow there, of course. Tension in Kano over Guber verdict as Akeredolu Ayedatiwa crisis rocks. Although you think this is one thing that has been put to rest, talking about the Akeredolu and the Ayedatiwa, but then many things will happen. The election is just around the corner. Who will succeed? Aketi. And then many persons believe that was the reason for all of this. But good luck to them in Ondo State. But there is tension in Kano over Guber verdict. We talked about this extensively earlier before we started at the airline segment. And one thing is this, maybe we should add is, there were persons in the court when the verdict was given. So verbatim from the justice that took the verdict, what did he read on that day? Because many persons are wondering, whatever he read that day should suffice. But the CTC that was seen is stating otherwise. So many persons were thinking, was there a predetermined verdict that was later changed at the court of law? But then let's go there again. That's why the NJC get to the bottom of these. Senate laments cyber threats to digital economy. $500 million yearly loss, right? Court grants Emefiele a $300 million bail. That's virtually in all the papers. Order CBN to update CSO on e-Naira. What's the position of the e-Naira, by the way? The state of the e-Naira that was launched with so many promises. I bet you 80-90% of Nigerians doesn't even know what this is or how it works or what advantage does it bring. E-Naira.
You know, in our country, something that is a major challenge to us is the challenge of maintenance, the challenge of sustainability, and the challenge of continuity. You know, it's so easy to launch any project, but how do we maintain this project? How do we sustain this?
Informed? Yeah,
this project? And also, how do we continue with this project? You know, we are always so excited. The government, the leaders are always so excited to bring up project, to roll out projects. But how useful is this project to the Nigerian people?
That's right.
And how are you making sure that this project is sustained even after you leave office.
Yeah.
I
Even
think
while
these are
some of them are in
conversations
office,
we should
Naira,
have.
I'm sure if you ask persons around, they will tell you, so what's that? What does it mean, by the way? But then we get to see as this court has ordered the CBN to update CSO on e-Naira. Now, over 200 billion Naira exchange rate differential pushes FARC disbursement to 906.96 billion Naira. That's on the business page of The Guardian. And at Delabu, aviation safety and profligacy of public officials. At Delabu, aviation safety and profligacy of public officials, spending hundreds of people, of millions of people's wealth on traveling, possibly. You see people, governors traveling private jet, chartered ones, and then every now and then they're in Abuja. You wonder, what's your business here? The president is having a dinner. A state governor will fly there. You know, a president is traveling out of the country, and he's not even part of the entourage. You see state governors.
But there are state governors who reside in Abuja but visit their states.
It's like that.
There are state governors. I mean, there are allegations about
in Abuja.
so many, a couple of state governors who reside in Abuja, the capital of the country, but visit their state. You know, it's so sad.
Governor Fubara opens to world-class health facilities. This is going to good. We are hearing something else from Port Harcourt, from River State, not just Fubara and his daddy, so to say, political daddy. Now, you know what I'm talking about. All right. That will be all from the front page of The Guardian.
All right, we move swiftly to the Punch newspaper this morning. Kano poll controversy, police NNPP protesters clash, more cloud over judgment. Court APC blame clerical error. NNPP Labour Party insists judgment doctored. Yusuf Hetz for Supreme Court says appeal court lacks jurisdiction to determine party membership. Fantiri intervenes as soldier skill inspector in Adamawa. That's still on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. Senate passes MTAF to probe tax waivers under Buhari. That's on page 21. Police Diaga's protesters shield Oshun CJ from mob. We are definitely going to get the meat of this conversation later on. And 1.2 billion naira fraud. Emefiele gets 300 million naira bail restricted to Abuja. Let's move over to the topmost part of the Punch newspaper this morning. Niger junta sues Tinubu. ECOWAS court rules December 7. And fresh naira scarcity eats Kano, Sokoto, Edo, others. And I think this is a conversation we should also major on because a lot of these POS agents are complaining that they do not get cash from the banks. They said the highest cash you get is 20,000 naira per day. So we have to interrogate this issue. We are moving to the Yuletide, so we do not have a repeat of what we had at the beginning of the year.
And I think the CBN has spoken about the matter to say, you know what, the legal tender, I mean, the old notes and the new Naira notes are still legal tender. There should be no hoarding.
So why are the banks hoarding this cash?
What?
Why are the banks hoarding the cash?
Well, that should be investigated as well, because the CBN at that time said so many things, and the banks are doing different things completely to the tune of some bank managers had to be arrested when their banks were, you know, getting into and they realized there were cash stacked in their vaults, and you wonder what the managers are doing with that. Of course, your guess is as good as mine. So this should not be just CBN saying something.
And the
banks should be really investigated to know that you don't have to cause the people to suffer again. Nigerians will never forget what happened during that time.
Okay, and of course, the last one here, FG slashes wage awards by 100 billion naira, Labour kicks. All right, we have the picture of the Minister of Labour, Simon Lalong, right there beside the headline. And that will be all for the Punch newspaper this morning. And that's it for this segment. We go for this commercial break. And when we come back, we will be interrogating matters about the issue in Osun State, the Chief Justice of Osun, the suspension, the strike by the judicial workers, and of course, the NBA's reaction to all of this. But that will be right after this break. We'll be speaking to a major stakeholder in all of this matter. Do not go anywhere. Morning Spring will be right back.
Arrested, affected, sound, found. What do we see? What do we say? Flowing from a spring. A fact A to Z. Check and confirm. Ever is pounding current events. Traveling down from the business gist to the globally arising happenings, to the sports news, to the bittersweet infos. Guided transmission, even diffusion, vast and fast, detailed facts are fled. Within seconds, nuggets of words that flew across borders are fired. Stories short and long, wrapped in bundles of words, broken and dissected as it is, except misheard. This is the news as it is.
COVID-19 is a global crisis. Businesses, cities, even countries were shut down by a disease traced to a wildlife market. We must never let it happen again. In captivity, wild animals are potential sources of disease. To protect our wildlife and our health, say no to illegal bushmeat and report wildlife crime. Keep them wild and keep us safe.
Nigeria once had giraffes, rhinos, and cheetahs, but we have lost this iconic species forever. And we may lose our lions, elephants, and gorillas too. Be iconic and join me to protect our wildlife. Report wildlife crime and say no to illegal bushmeat, because poaching steals from us all.
Hilas Olayinka Herbert Macaulay, politician, nationalist and journalist, was the first Nigerian to qualify as a civil engineer, surveyor and architect. Born on November 14, 1864, Herbert Macaulay was the founder of Nigeria's National Democratic Party, the first political party in pre-independent Nigeria. Scholars of Nigeria's political history describe Herbert Macaulay as the intellectual bulldog of 19th century Nigerian nationalist movement, in a deference to his qualities as founder and leader of two foremost political parties, Nigeria National Democratic Party (NNDP) and National Council of Nigerian Citizens (NCNC). His matchless versatility in party organization and control kept the British colonialists on their toes in the entire span of his active life. After his death on 7th May 1946, Herbert Macaulay remains a hero of his country, which recognized his anti-colonial struggles. Today, Nigeria's 10 naira coin bears his oval face and trademark moustache. Western Spring Television identifies Herbert Macaulay as a major character in history.
All right, you're welcome back, and the conversation we resumed right now. It's about what has been happening for the past few days in Osun State. Started with a news that said the State House of Assembly, suspended the Chief Justice of the state, Justice Adebola Adekunle-Ojo, and the whole state went into frenzy, and people were wondering what's going on here. And later, there was a release by the spokesperson to the governor, who said the executive governor has, yes, approved the suspension of the CJ, Justice Adekunle-Ojo, based on the recommendation of the House of Assembly, and that degenerated into so many controversies within and even outside of the state. People wondering if the State House of Assembly has that power at all to suspend, the Chief Justice of the state as well. And so later, those statements were retracted, and the government of the state, through the Commissioner for Information, came out to say the governor has not done that, has not endorsed the suspension. In fact, there was no suspension at all, although there were allegations made by different persons. By and large, it was even said that the most senior justice should take over as acting chief judge of the state, but I guess that didn't happen. As it stands, yesterday, the woman, the judge at the eye of the storm, that's Justice Adekunle-Ojo, resumed back at her office. And that elicited some protests from the judicial workers known as Junsun. That's the body, and they were saying they have been affected. According to her, many things were said about her, and I'll try and give you what was said so that you have an idea of what we are talking about this morning, about some allegations leveled against her, and which borders really on some of them saying some of their members were suspended without following due process by the chief judge, and that the chief judge had put a stop to statutory training for workers to improve their productivity. And these are some of the things that were levied against the chief judge, Justice Adekunle-Ojo, by the judicial workers. And they said the state union was suspended for more than, some members of the state union were suspended for more than 3 years, and for some others, about 59 months now. So in the middle of all this, the Jusun protested, and their leader, Comrade Eludire, just told the members to down tool, and they are going on an indefinite strike. So after that, the NBA chairman in Osun State, Osogbo branch, Barrister Yemi Abiono, spoke on the matter and said the action of the judiciary workers are, impeding on the judiciary, on some litigants, some persons having litigations, going to the court for one thing or another, and it's really affecting. So we are being joined right now on phone by Barrister Yemi Abiono, who is the NBA chairman, Osogbo branch, who spoke on the matter yesterday, and he will be speaking on the matter now. Barrister, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Good to have you. Join us.
It's my pleasure.
Yes, Jusun are on strike. They called it indefinite strike, bordering on some of the things they said is affecting their members, coming from the office of the Chief Justice Adekunle-Ojo. They said issues of high-handedness from our office. Some of their members were suspended for one thing and another without going through the right process. So when she resumed at her office yesterday, Jusun, members protested, and police or security men were involved. Tear gas was fired, And then their leader, Comrade Ludire, called on his members to say, we are going on indefinite strike. And you spoke on the matter to say this is really affecting litigations in the state. What do you have to say on all of this?
But on the issue of the strike action, let me start from the protest.
Yes.
From the DUSU members is Monday. But actually, as I said yesterday, it's the industrial action really is negatively affecting litigations in the state, activities in the state. So the court has always say is last scope of the common man, and there shouldn't be. I believe there shouldn't be anything whatsoever that limits the access of the common man to the court. We should always try as many times as possible to ensure that the courtrooms are always open to common man, as we used to say. And definitely the actions, industrial actions of the staff, since Monday, one way or the other, limited the access of citizens to these courts. The implication of this, the immediate implication of this is that many people that are waiting for their cases to be heard in court will be there without any hope of having it heard as soon as possible, which will make it to be negating the provision of the Constitution that says any person having matters in court has the right to be heard as soon as possible. Let's even look at those who have criminal matters hanging on their head. You have two categories of these people. There are some that are presently remanded in correctional facilities all over the state. We have some that are already on bail. In the two categories, they will definitely be suffering psychologically. Those who are out, even those who are on bail, the psychology of having something hanging on them, the psychological effect of not being free, they cannot travel anywhere because of the criminal charge hanging on them, and they look forward to get disposed of anytime.
Barrister Abiono, can you stay here? Are you with us? Oh, it's a pity. All right, I think we lost that connection. We'll try and connect. We're speaking with Barrister Yemi Abiono, who actually is the NBA chairman, that's Nigerian Bar Association of Osogbo branch, giving his take on the issue, the aftermath of the indefinite strike called by members of the that's the Judiciary Workers Party, and it has started since the beginning of the week before the strike. They have been protesting about some of those things we read out earlier, but then it's quite sad, if I may use the word, just like Evelyn, just like Barrister Abiono said a while ago. All right, Barrister, can you hear us now?
Yes.
All right, please go ahead.
So, I said the psychological trauma of having criminal charges hanging on them will also be there. They look forward to get it disposed of so they can move on with their life. Also, those who are in correctional facilities, reminded in correctional facilities, many of them have hope of coming to court from Monday to now, but those hopes have been dashed down. Many of them looking forward to have their matter disposed of and spend the new year at home. Their hopes have been dashed down. And, as long as this thing lasts, it affects liberty, right to freedom, right to human dignity of citizens of this country who are languishing in correctional facility and also presumed innocent by the Constitution. So that's the reason why we are much concerned in the NBA about the industrial action. In this year alone, nationally we have witnessed industrial action from MLC, which the same JUSU joined. So all these things are affecting, definitely having negative impact on our cases in both civil and criminal matters.
All right, Barrister Abiono, well taken. You are really fighting for the cause of the common people who have their cases in court, and that is understandable. But let's look into the rationale. Behind the industrial action by the Judicial Staff Union. Do you think it's worth it for them to go on strike? First, it was protest, and like we know, protesting is backed up by the Constitution of our land. When they were tear gassed by the men of the police and all, what would you have them do? I know you are fighting for the cause of the common man, but also looking at things from their own end, do you think it's not worth it for them to go on this strike?
Well, from the information available to me, let me first of all condemn the assault on the JUSU members, that is by the police authority, by firing tear gas and things. I condemn it in totality. Okay. It doesn't want it at all. But all the same, we have as information available to us. We were aware that the JUSU, the National Secretariat of JUSU, wrote to the state chapter on Monday, I think on 20th day of November 2023, cautioning them from going ahead with the protest. I have a soft copy of the letter with me. Okay. That was actually the same opinion we were holding as at the time we started the picketing. We complained about the timing. Whether we like it or not, there are many people that have been reading meanings to the picketing. Why is it happening at this time? Why don't you let us settle the issue of CJ, the head of court? There's no about grievances that anybody can address when the head of the court is not settled. The issue of the head of the court is not settled. The grievances are normally addressed to the head of court, which is the CJ. So when they have issue on who is the head of court, how do you want that grievances to be settled? So I raised the issue of timing with the chairman, but it seems not to be interested in what we are raising. So people, one way or the other, have been tagging them as coming out to defend a particular section of government against the other. So there are bound to be speculations about the motive of the industrial action at this stage. And that was why we said they should look at it, suspend it, let's settle this thing. Let's have settle the issue of head of court, the CJ, and then you can raise whatever you want to raise. At that time, there won't be excuse that I'm not on seat, you are not on seat, I cannot address your grievances. So that was what we told them. And that was the same thing the National Secretariat of JUSU, with the letter signed by the Deputy President of JUSU, I believe sent to the chairman of Osun State chapter, that they are not aware of any industrial action by JUSU in Osun State, and they actually want them to stop such action. So in this, I know it's constitutional for them to engage in protest, but we have the body. JUSU Osun State is not an independent chapter of JUSU. It's affiliated to the national body. So they are bound to just listen to what the national body has said and take into consideration. So as I've said earlier, I condemn no matter what the police has done to members of JUSU yesterday.
Okay, so Barrister Abiono, if you can hear me, yes. You're saying that the national body of JUSU is not in support of this industrial action and backed upon by the state chapter. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I have a copy of the letter sent by the national body to the state chapter. since Monday.
So why then is the state chapter of the Judiciary Staff Union still on this strike? If the national body says, halt the strike, call off the strike, why do you have an idea why they are still on this strike?
They just declared indefinite strike yesterday. Since Monday, they have been having picketing. They said they called it picketing, but actually locked up the gates of the court. So,
okay, so
and since then, that was where the national body sent the letter.
All right. You talked earlier about the timing, that the timing for this picketing is wrong. The timing for the industrial action is not good. Do you think there is a political coloration to this, especially with this protest and the strike following at this particular time where the Chief Justice of the state is embattled?
That's the essence of what I was saying. Many people, that with the way everything happened, there is bound to be speculation here and there. And that was why actually the day before they started the picketing, that was my opinion. That was what I raised the executive of JUSU. But the timing, why don't you look at the timing? Because at that time, many people have been saying that definitely they came out at that time in order to support a particular section of the government against the CJ. So it's with the timing, definitely there's people are bound to read meaning to the action at this particular time.
So you're saying it's not there is no political coloration. All what people are saying, they are just mere speculation. It's not like there is politics being played.
I believe it's still at the room of speculation.
All right. Quite understandable for anybody to think that way as well. But then, just like you said, it's still speculation after that. And let's even state it there that we tried to invite the JUSUN chair for Chief State, Comrade Eludire. We tried as many so that we have their angle as well. But then it declined over and over. That maybe in the coming days we'll get to have him speak on this matter. But then when these things were going on, the CJ, according to JUSUN, have been accused of high-handedness of our office. And then, they said there were some of their members that were punished and some were suspended, affected for some of them for 59 months. And when these things were going on, was the NBA aware? And Barrister Biono, as the chair for Oshogbo branch, was the NBA aware? Did you try to intervene before it got to this degenerating level? Comrade, are you still with us?
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Did you hear the question?
I heard the question.
Okay, please go ahead.
Well,
All right. Oh dear. All right. We'll try and reconnect. I understand it's a connection issue. We'll try and do that because we need to know the NBA, the Nigerian Bar Association, being body of lawyers, possibly they were aware when these things were going on. They tried to intervene because the bar and the bench works together. You can't separate them. And one we believe is to the benefit of humanity, either it's JUSUN members, NBA members, WSTV people, and everybody involved is towards having a better world and let everybody have their day and have their time, their dignity to be kept intact. If there are disciplinary proceedings, did they go through the right channels? Because these are some of the concerns and some of the allegations by the JUSUN members saying the justice has done these allegations, by the way, has done these and that and that. And the NBA chairman said they have been picketing, they have been protesting since Monday, locking up the gate of the State High Court. And immediately Justice Adekunle Ojo resumed at her office yesterday. They went there. We learned they went to his car where her car was parked, protested, and tear gas were fired, possibly to dispel off the protesters. And here we are.
Yes, and with what Barrister Biona said, the timing is really not too wise, because people will ask, this high-handedness didn't start yesterday. It didn't start last week. According to them. So why are you just coming out to express your grievances against when you know that there is an issue on ground about our position at the moment? So I think it's something that, especially now that he said that the national body of the Judicial Staff Union is not in support of this strike action. There is a letter issued
not to do that.
So we hope to hear from the JUSUN, and also we hope to see their next move.
And that's why I have to say the other time that we gave them invite. We invited them and tried to convince them to speak on this matter. So because they are the body now directly involved in this, for them to clarify these matters, but then we were waiting if actually they will in the coming days speak on the matter as well, and trust us to be on the issue, talking about it started with the CJ and suspension, and then talking about the CJ, because we're going to ask the barrister as well. There's been this back and forth from the state government. The spokesperson Olawale Rasheed released a statement saying the CJ has been suspended. The recommendation of the State House of Assembly, later it was like there was a 360 U-turn, maybe something happened, somebody said something, misinformation, and then the Commissioner for Information released another statement to say the Osun State Governor, Governor Ademola Adeleke, has not suspended her, has not ratified anything. They have only made recommendations to the NJC based on some of the things they have been hearing. And that I think there was another statement from the House of Assembly to say many persons have been coming to the State House of Assembly to state their matter, some of their grievances against her, and that the State House of Assembly have been investigating the matter. But then the question is,
don't just allow
do they
matter?
have the power to do that? They are not the NJC. Do they have the power to do that?
You mean the State House?
The State House of Assembly.
But I recommend, according to the spokesman to the governor has recommended what the findings by the State House of Assembly to the NJC for further action. So they do not have. I don't think they have that power. We are not lawyers, but I do not see. Lawyers have been speaking on the matter. And immediately when the issue of the suspension, the acting CJ, the governor saying there will be a swearing in for the acting CJ.
But that never happened.
Lawyers have been speaking. The NBA spoke that it is unconstitutional, it is illegal for a governor to sack a chief justice. That is not within his powers.
Yeah, he doesn't have the power to do that.
And what we saw was a 360.
Denial of whatever has been released by the spokesperson to the governor himself. It's there. It's not people that do that. But then it's understandable that, many persons saw that as a damage control sort of a thing, by the way. But then the thing is, at the time that we learned that there will be swearing-in ceremony by the deputy governor, at the instance of the governor, of the most senior person in the rank in the judiciary, there are many persons called on that same person that you better not come out, you better not receive such an offer, because you'll be doing to yourself an injury that might not be irreparable, by the way, because there are instances that anywhere that these things might have happened, anybody who come forward to be sworn in as the acting CJ in this manner risk, ending and erasing anything he or she has ever worked for. Because if the NJC will come with their hammer, on such a person, it will be so bad And I think that maybe that was what informed the fact that that swearing ceremony never happened. You know, it's quite understandable, but we'll be on this matter as we try to reconnect with the NBA chairman, Pastor Yemi Abiono. We take a break right now. When we return, the conversation will continue. It's Morning Spring on Western Spring Television.
Wild animal serves a purpose in a balanced and functioning ecosystem. But demand for bushmeat can destroy that balance. Deforestation and trade in live wildlife put us all at risk of disease outbreak like Ebola, Lassa fever, and even COVID-19. We can all help prevent extinction and diseases by saying no to illegal bushmeat. Keep them wild and keep us safe.
According to the words of Michael Forbes, one who never asks questions either knows everything or nothing. Watch me as I ask the questions you think no one wants to answer. Even questions it appears no one has got the gut to ask. My name is Femi Adefila and I've got the gut. Let's ask the pertinent questions and watch as we get answers.
Our music is one of our greatest exports, but our wildlife could be another great industry if we protect it for future generations. Right now, it's threatened by illegal wildlife trade. So please, report wildlife crime and say no to illegal bushmeat. Because poaching steals from us all.
Sadly, in Nigeria, we have less than 50 lions left in the wild. And even these are at risk from snares set for illegal bushmeat. So please, do your bit to protect our remaining wildlife. Say no to illegal bushmeat because poaching steals from us all.
Turn it up! It's the Wild Wild West. And Western Spring Television is pulling out all the stops to make sure that you don't miss out on every of the fun and happenings around you. Yup, we've got you covered because your girl got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join me, Chocolate Cassie, on Eccentric as we take you into every bit of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call, Zoom, or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be shown on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
As a player, there's nothing better than the roar of your crowd. But in Nigeria, there's a roar that may not be heard again. With fewer than 50 lions left, they could be extinct in the next few years from loss of habitat and prey and snares set for illegal bushmeat. So please, say no to illegal bushmeat. Let's keep the roar alive for Nigeria, because poaching steals from us all.
All right, good to know that you are there. We were speaking about the strike action, the protest and the strike action embarked upon by the judiciary workers, the acronym JUSUN, and the attendant effect on litigations, on the people having cases in court. And we have been speaking with the NBA chairman of Osogbo branch, Barrister Yemi Abiono. Barrister, can you hear us now?
Yes, I will see. I can hear you.
All right. As it stands right now, you know, I asked you before we lost that connection that when these things were going on, the allegations against the CJ, was the NBA involved? Were you aware? Did you try to intervene before it degenerated?
Well, actually, in that sense of sincerity, we heard the information through individual gossip and all those things, but not officially.
Yeah.
It is this action of people that actually brought it to our attention. Let me say the ground that followed the House of Assembly's resolution that actually brought all these allegations to our notice. That's why I initially identified the sincerity of the Christian leadership. But we are supposed to be partners in the judicial work. So, and ordinarily NBA should have been involved in all these grievances they have, so we can know how to address it once and for all with the chief judge. So, I'm telling you, we are just getting to know, to have full gist of the grievances. It was even during this period that I learned that some of the staff suspended were tried by a magistrate in Osun State, and they were found not to be guilty of the allegations leveled against them. So we didn't bring all these things that been brought to our attention. We will have common fronts to address it together with the CJ, and I know we will have achieved something by now.
Okay.
All right, Barrister Abiona, do you see this strike action being called off soon? Especially with what you have said, that the national body of JUSUN is not in support of this industrial action.
And as he feels the sincerity of the protest is even questionable.
We hope to see the resolution of the strike action as soon as possible. On our part, we will try and engage the JUSUN. We will involve leaders of the bar, our seniors, and do whatever we can do to see that we intervene and resolve the lingering issue and have the strike called off as soon as possible.
All right.
Because we believe the effect will be grievous if it continues this year.
Yes, and you know, before we allow you to go, before you understand, you have to run, really. What do you make of what has been happening for the past 1 week? The alleged suspension of the CJ, the ratification by the Office of the Governor, the denial of that again, and the fact that that hasn't happened. The CJ wasn't suspended, and it was looking like a back and forth, and yesterday she resumed at her office. So what do you make of what has been happening? Because the news that has been coming from Osun State, as far as the judiciary is concerned, is disheartening, and it has been like a talking point on the lips of so many persons, from erudite scholars to analysts to people on the street, to say what's wrong with them in Osun State. Your take on that?
But it's actually what happened in the last 1 week actually called for concern. In the government that has numbers of lawyers in the cabinet who are actually surprised by the event of what happened in the national, and that has also confirmed our position initially, because immediately we heard about the resolution of the House of Assembly and the purported approval of the governor on Thursday. The MBO should go call its leadership meeting, and we arrived at the position. The position was sent to the National Secretariat, which formed the basis of the National Secretariat press release on that day. We caused the letter to be written to the governor by the branch. The branch, in the same letter, we actually pleaded with the governor to refrain from doing anything. We are lawyers, we are going to court. So, for refraining from doing anything that will cause functional crisis in Osun State, and this is what we are trying to prevent. The reason why we are calling on the governor to still hold action on the resolution and take the matter before an appropriate body, the NJC, that can investigate, that is empowered to investigate, constitutionally empowered to investigate the CJ and even any judicial officer. So, and it would have been in this situation if that resolution was not passed, because you are definitely in a constitutional issue. But as far as we are concerned, the CJ still remains the CJ.
Okay, that's a very good place to put it there. Barrister Yemi Abiona, we must thank you especially for coming on board of Morning Spring to shed more light on this particular issue and also give your take. We appreciate you. We have to let you go now.
Thank you very much.
All right. Welcome. That's the NBA chairman of the National Nigerian Bar Association, Osogbo branch, speaking on the issue of the strike action by the Judicial Staff Union, the suspension, the purported suspension of the Chief Justice of Osun State, and of course the withdrawal of that suspension and the issues by the National Assembly on this particular issue. We'll go for this commercial break. When we return, we have another legal practitioner in-house to speak this issue. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Here are 5 amazing fun facts I bet you never knew about Christianity.
Number 1, there are over 2.4 billion Christians worldwide.
Amazing fun fact number 2. The Bible is one of the best-selling books of all time, with more than 100 million copies sold every year.
Most Christians believe in heaven and hell.
The Bible is the most translated book in the world, with more than 3,000 languages.
Amazing fun fact number 5. Most Christians throw science out of the window without realizing that most scientists are Christians. Hello, I am Pastor Steve Akinwumi.
And I am Dr. Adeoye Oyewole.
Join us as we highlight and discuss day-to-day issues pertaining to the day-to-day living of every Christian.
Issues in Christendom shows every Sunday on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Sports is a culture on its own. It has its own language, its own people, with their own way of life. The world of sports is never void of actions, stories, dramas, and scandals. I guess you need a sports show that can walk the walk and talk the talk.
On this show, we answer all your sporting questions. The whens, the whys, the wheres, and even the what ifs. Sports Spring is that show that will give you that new lease of life you've been looking for in sport journalism. Join me, Joseph Atewa,
And your sports Amazon, Nengi Ernest.
on this station, Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on StarTimes.
Let's talk sports. Let's speak the most universal language of the world.
Here in South Africa, there is still a healthy population of lambs, contributing to tourism and creating thousands of jobs. Sadly, in Nigeria, we have less than 50 lions left in the wild. Imagine if we could help their numbers recover and we become a wildlife tourist destination. So let's protect our lands, because poaching steals from us all.
All right, you're welcome back. And we'll have another opinion on the matter of discuss, the strike action embarked upon by members of the judiciary workers soon. They've started the protest since Monday, and when Justice Adekunle Ojo resumed at her office yesterday, the protest continued, and, it degenerated into what has been, in the words of the Josun chairman, called an indefinite strike. But then there was a background to that, and we are being joined by Barrister Moses Obaditon, human rights activist and a barrister as well. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Good to have you here.
Thank you.
All right, and you heard the conversation already. Josun on strike. Justice Adekunle Ojo resumed back at her office yesterday, and the protest started, and that's coming on the heels of some allegations made against her of high-handedness, of picking on the unit, especially at the organization, rather, the union, and some members of the union who have been punished unjustly by their works, and some of them have even been in this for 59 months, according to the Johnson. So when the justice resumed yesterday, protest started. They went to our car, the police were involved, tear gas was shot, the gate of the High Court was locked, and the indefinite strike was called. What do you make of this situation?
Well, I will say that when in boxing,
when you knock down your opponent, you don't keep on boxing him. If I'm going to apply that to the Seagate issue, the woman has been knocked down.
How so?
Well, the governor about a week ago said she's placed on suspension. The House of Assembly backed it up, and many others. And then people cried, that's not the process. We have pictorials of cases that whenever you want to take a disciplinary action against a sitting judge, the chief judge of the federation, of the state, you must first of all inform, pass away those accusations to the Nigerian Judicial Council. The Judicial Council will now look into it, invite the person here, her own side, and before you take, and then send the message back to the governor will now send it to the House of Assembly, then the 2/3 majority of the House will now take the appropriate measure. But this was not done. And then, before you know it, the governor, they called it government magic. They said, oh, we didn't suspend that. The issue is that this, that. Before we have written to the NJC. Beautiful. So we're not saying, Jusun, you were there all along. When some of your colleagues were suspended, when your furniture allowance are not paid, what were you doing until this woman has problem? Now, if you are going to add your own to it, there's the point when we're in secondary school, the he that is down need no fall. The woman is down. What do you want more? So we should have allowed her either guilty or not guilty, and then you can come up with your own, or maybe with the new one. To me, I see some smoke. And that smoke is that once kindled by the politician. And in civil service rule, there are 3 principles that guide the civil service.
Yes.
You should be heard, and you should not be heard. You should be seen, and then continuity. Every government that succeeds, you continue. But when you now begin to be partisan, to be heard, then you are no more a civil servant.
You are saying this strike action call and those protests and the strike action call by Jusun is politically motivated?
If it's not politically motivated,
is that what you're saying?
That is the way I saw it. If it's not so, why now? What have you been doing all along? You've been with Adepele Ojo for years. The woman has been there almost 8 years. And if she has been there and she has been oppressing you, you have opportunity. You either go to court or take industrial action. None. And then it is when this one is not coming and people are now saying, we are not going to deal with her now. And then so many things are flying on the social media against her. And I think that is, whoever have asked them to do it, that is not the best approach. Yes, you may have a good case, but the way you presented it and the time of a thing, you normally count more. Because to me, I think that's not a good thing for a civil servant.
The strike action was called by the union leader, Comrade Delu Dire, and when I think he was asked about the matter, and he had to say, does it matter? Is there a right time for him to fight for his members? It is his members that have been affected in all of this. Does the timing matter? Is that a proper time to get justice?
Well, there may not be. There's no law that says this should be the time. However, the question is, those things you are not demanding, can Adepele Ojo in her mind, her present condition, can she answer you? Can you give you what you are requesting for now? So that is why we said, you have all the opportunity, you have all the time to have made your, present your grievances. Or even when you intend to ventilate, you didn't do it. It is now that the government is pulling the woman, then you too as a civil servant has to pull the woman, and people are not saying, what's the matter? You said you can do it anytime. Beautiful. If you do it anytime, does he have the fund now? Can she write something? Because the way it is, government will have put a sort of what we call it, a key on the financial transaction that she might have been able to sign. So these are some of those things. Then, assuming maybe those who have been on suspension, you are now saying that one, and then you come in a peaceful manner. That's, you can even present a very terrible things at a dangerous hour. They spend on the language, the presentation. So, but when you are not locking up the woman and protesting, try to embarrass her. So what do you want to get? So to Anna's side, I was passing and say, what's wrong with these people? And to those who are outside the state will say, what's wrong with these Osun people? The governor is suspending. Even the woman said, I think that then I didn't want to blame the Jusum alone. Okay. Let me give it to the NJC, the chief judge. One, we must learn a lesson of leadership. Whenever you are in a position of authority, do the very best that you can. So by the time you cease to be on that seat, people will appreciate and say, oh, she did the best.
while you are in that position, you are accused that annually they are supposed to be given a certain allowance. Either have dress code because they work in the judiciary, and then some of the people who are not properly interrogated before they placed on suspension. As human being, as somebody know that power is transient, the chief judge ought to have taken it easy that this thing I met somebody, and one day I will not be in this seat. What would they say about me? So I'm assuming, because don't let me judge the woman.
Because I wanted to say, I'm not judging her. I'm taking a side already.
No, I'm not taking a side. I'm just trying to say and assume. Assuming that what allegation the Jusuma are levying against the woman is right, then we must bring a lesson for those who are listening to all that.
Assuming without consider.
Yes. Yeah. We must put it in perspective that suppose it is so. Then those who are still aspiring for leadership and those who are still in power try to ensure that you do not muzzle the ox that grind the mill.
Using your analogy, you said a woman that was down, that she's down, but is she really down? She has resumed back at her office already.
Yeah, well, because they said they have withdrawn all the measures they've taken. So, and for her to show that she's not, she hasn't melted, she has not given up, she must come to the office. So why should you are now coming back to where I'm saying that Justin should have allowed her in. So by the time she's on her seat, they say, sorry, we're sorry, man, we haven't come, even if it's not from their mind. We just come to smile with you, but this is about what will you do with this one? By that so doing, by the hour and the language they use, we make the woman's heart to melt.
You think you have not done that?
If they've done, they will have told us.
All right, Barrister, let's talk about the smoke you mentioned earlier, the political coloration. What do you think is the bone of contention between the Chief Justice of Osun State and the present administration of Governor Ademola Adeleke? I know you cannot speak for the government, you cannot speak for Jusun, but I just want your own take as a member of the bar.
Well, in judiciary, you cannot just say you think. You have to be very specific that this is it. So in this case, I cannot speak with all honesty that this is the root cause of the matter. However, from what we have been able to gather from their members, from the social media, that they accuse the CJ, the political class accuse the CJ that she cannot be trusted because she has been hobnobbing with the former administration that Governor Adeleke, met. And not only that she's still having connection at the federal level. That's what I read. I'm not sure of those facts.
Just mere speculations.
Mere speculation, and speculation does not hold in the court. You must be sure of your facts.
Maybe just to add, so that I speak on it, I think it's not far away from the fact that she was supposed to retire this year before that law came that was signed into the law by President Muhammadu Buhari, I think, or President Tinubu when
President
he came.
Bola Tinubu.
Yeah, the extension of the years of service
to 70.
From 65 to 70. And she was still in service even when they made a day or two. The law has been signed, is now the law, and so she's supposed to enjoy that. But it's like some persons want her out. Just for you to take that into consideration as well.
I had that one too. But the problem is that even if you don't want to enjoy those new law, there's a better approach. The better approach, you can call her. Because ironically, I learned Adekunle Ojo is from Ede. And possibly it's even a cousin to the Adeleke. So if it is so, you call. Look, this is our chance. We will be asking you. We'll give this option.
Is there supposed to be a collaboration of some sort, like you were saying, between the executive and the judiciary? Are they not separate arms of government
Separation of powers,
should operate separately?
They are, but they are what called checks and balances. The National Assembly will check the executive arm as well as the judiciary. And when the law is violated, the judiciary will put in the hammer. But so there is none of the body is totally independent of the other. So, and there's a collaboration. But quite often, not only at the state level, at the federal level, the executive wanted to pocket the judicial group. Unfortunately, the other group that should have been able to help has already been pocketed, which is the National Assembly. And that's why they call them rubber stamp.
You think the National Assembly has been pocketed?
I said maybe you have just returned from America. An average Nigerian knows that story we're telling you. In the last 8 years, have you ever seen any of the bill or decision taken by federal government rejected by the National Assembly, even when it is even not legally permissible? I'll give you just a recent time. Recently, some individuals were nominated to become electoral commissioner. Some were alleged with pictorials backup that, look, this man was behind APC ceremonial dress, and he was involved in the campaign for Akpabio. Not only that, this X and Y was also working with Akpabio in his office as a chief of staff. And then in Lagos, there used to be a man who worked at Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission. And you know, when you work in that state, as not even in state, most of the state, they only bring their party member to work in that lake. That same man, you now transfer him to become a national electoral and the petition and many other names. Despite all these, people rejecting the offer, some even threatening of going to court, some have even gone to court. The National Assembly still rubber stamp and approve it. Let's go back to the means, ways and means, when Buhari was about going. And they were even saying, including IMF, now look, your debt is too high, your revenue is below, and then they still order Emefiele, can you give us so and so, and about some trillion were approved. They said, Obaseki, the governor of Edo State, was saying, as I'm not talking to you now, that's about a year ago, that the government does not have enough revenue, and that they were printing currency. The minister of finance there said, no, it's a lie. Later, they agree. So what am I trying to say was that in situation like that, when you have even borrowed, Section 38 of the CBN Act says that whenever you take such ways and means, you must have paid before December 31st, before they can give you another one. This has been thing they have been taking year over year, and then the National Assembly was dosing. So if I am accusing them that they were merely rubber stamp, I'm simply saying what has been observed, what people have agreed, and what the nation knows about.
Is it the same thing that is happening, at the different state House of Assemblies?
Oh, certainly. That one is even worse. Because you can see, let's go back to Rivers now. I'll give you so many examples. In Rivers State, just as the senior partner or senior governor, Wiki left and put our in that place. And he's not he wasn't satisfied with the going on. And then he sent his boys. Before we know it, they attacked the National the House of Assembly. Today, as I'm talking to you, the House cannot sit because there are now 2 speakers and 2 houses.
That's allegation against Governor Wike because you said he sent his boy.
Well, he admitted. He said he cannot destroy my structure. I pay for the campaign, I pay for his nomination, and so whatever I say, you are a journalist. Have I lied? Those are facts on the ground. So I don't just allege it. I'm saying what Wike has confirmed, that he knows about it. And even the governors of PDP went to Wike to beg. I bet, let your boy stay now. Say, yeah, just talk to the boy. And even the governor said, I'm still loyal.
With what is happening, so that we take it home from here, Osun State, you think the House of Assembly has danced to the tune of the executive for the purported suspension of Justice Adekunle Ojo? Did you think that's what happened?
I'm not even thinking, I'm confirming. But before I answer that one, let me just tell you. In PDP today, I know some of my seniors, including a former Attorney General of Osun State, is still their member. They know what I know now. That in plethora of cases, which they themselves will have used, assuming they were on the other side, they will have known that a governor, a sitting governor, cannot remove a CJ. It can only send the grievances, the accusation to the NJC. They didn't say. And I give in another occasion, I told them, I said there are 3 reasons why some of the people I mentioned cannot speak. Number 1, some of them are still waiting for the governor to look at their side for appointment. 2, some already got in their appointment, and they knew if they tell the governor that this is wrong, they may be on the black side, and they could be fired. And then thirdly, some study the body language of governors, and they tell them only what they love to hear. So for these 3 reasons, that's why you see what is playing out in Ondo State, what is playing out in the Rivers State, the same thing is playing out here. It's not that maybe you need to tell me that the House of Assembly even in Onosho here, do not know what the law is. Some of them are lawyers. In fact, one of them happened to be my good friend from, I think, Obokun or Ilesha there. Very short, Komi, barrister Komi, something like that. And I saw him even speaking yesterday. You know, the problem is that we have returned to the NJC. Komi will take that case beautifully. Another person I've just been, Akim, who has not been, you know, as the chairman of Osun State Electoral Commission, has been on this forum. He has been in this place to defend so many things. They knows the law. But the problem is that they do not want to tell the truth. They do not want to rock the boat. They do not want to see the other side. They always say, Ogaza, let's try it.
What if they have?
If they have, there are two options. The governor may ignore and the governor may fire.
All right.
Because he who hire can fire.
All right.
So these are the reason why the status quo and everybody pretend what the governor has done is the law.
Now, the suspension was retrieved, so to say. In fact, it was said that there was no suspension. The governor has just written to the NJC, and that's the right thing to do. And then Justice Adekunle Ojo has resumed at her office yesterday. Protest started. The Jusuna on indefinite strike. So, and the story coming from Osun in the last 1 week has not been quite a beautiful one, especially from the judiciary. Many persons are thinking, what's going on there? You know, the man that we just spoken with, the NBA chairman for Oshogbo branch, talked about the matter and say it's quite disheartening. So where do we go from here? And I'll take that as your parting shot. The justice has returned now, and as it is, she is the Chief Justice of Osun State, isn't it?
Yes.
So where do we go from here?
We go where we're going is where they have just decided to go now. You know, for every journey, making a U-turn is permissible. And the U-turn they did was to do the right thing by petitioning or sending whatever accusation they have against Adekunle Ojo to the NJC. The NJC, in their own wisdom, will now look at the matter. If there is a substance in it, if there is a need for the woman to be placed on suspension or to be disciplined, they will now write back to the governor. The governor will do this needful by sending it to the House of Assembly. The House of Assembly will now do 2/3 of the member there to ratify whatever decision they intend to take. So the only way out is the law. Once they comply with the law, that will be beautiful, and that will save the crisis that is already erupted.
All right.
All right. Amazing.
So thank you, Barrister Moses Obaditon, for your take on the program today and telling us what you think about this matter. We have spoken Barrister Yemi Abiono, who is the MBA chairman for Oshogbo, the Oshogbo branch of the Nigerian Bar Association, and of course, Barrister Moses Obaditon. Interesting days are ahead. Ours is to have this conversation. Yours is to make do of what we discuss here. We'll return tomorrow on this program. Please do well to follow us on all our social media platforms, on X, on Instagram, and on Facebook. And we're always live on our YouTube channel, our Western Spring Television. You can have a recap of this program and many other programs from the station. It's the anniversary week, and it's going down really, really well with us. Femi Ojo is my name. By the way, before I go, the president, speaking in Berlin before he came back, was addressing the business community and the diplomatic community. They are telling them what he has done, who he is, and that he deserves to have his name inscribed in the Guinness World Record book because of the initiative he has taken, and it's quite an interesting one. You get to see the video, the clip. We end with that. Evelyn, let's go.
Yes, let's go. And I'd like to have a recap of that particular video of Mr. President. My name is Evelyn Ohiola. We'll make a return tomorrow. See you then.
If you add the fear of various audios, just look at me. I am from private sector, one of you. Trained by Deloitte, worked for Mobil, ExxonMobil, until I got to become the treasurer of the corporation. So define corporate governance, whichever way. I am in it. And from there, I have governed Lagos for 8 consecutive years. And today, I can brag, beat my chest, that Lagos is on the horizon. It is the 5th largest economy in Africa, from zero. That's a track record that I can use to assure you. And that's the track record that got me into this office as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Nigeria voted for me for reforms. And from day one of my inauguration, I started the reform. Day one. To me, if you didn't mention me in the Guinness Book of Records on it, I will try to find a way to insert myself. Because I did it without expectation. My inaugural speech didn't disclose what I would do that day. I removed the fuel subsidy that is the greatest burden and pipeline to fraud and irregularities, a great burden to Nigerians from the moment I stepped into the office. There are other reforms. The arbitrage reading exchange rate is gone.